Amazing. Give it up for that incredible band. How is that? Wow. Amazing. Welcome, everybody, to this incredible event tonight. We dialed up a perfect weather night, I think. The backdrop of Houston right behind us. I had no idea this place was here. This is amazing. How nice is this arena, this venue? This is great. Joe Pagliarulo is my name. You might know me as Joe Pags on the radio. Really glad to have you here. I'm really glad to celebrate the governor's big announcement tonight. Can't wait to have him come out. I'm here with a panel of very important people, dignitaries here in town and beyond, certainly here in Texas. And I want to go down the list. I just met everybody, so if I mess anything up, I apologize. Marcus Capone, Amber Capone, Shelley Carter, don't call me Michelle. You said you better, no, I'm kidding. Joel Enge, also Cone. Nope. No. Try again. He wants me to try again. I'll open the paper if I have to. Andy Kahn. Yep. My fault, Andy Kahn. Andy's a good guy. Also, we've got Ibarra, Leticia Ibarra, and Ray Hunt. Everybody, a round of applause for me messing everybody's name up, but there you go. Everybody's very important here. What we want to do is just sort of have a round table, just sit down and enjoy what everybody brings to the table, why everybody's here in Texas. We just saw what happened in New York City, right? We don't like what just happened in New York City, do we? No. We see what just happened in Eastern Virginia, took over the entire state of Virginia. We went very, very blue in Virginia, including an attorney general in Virginia that literally text messaged that he would like to see his opponent die with bullets in his head, which I found he's now going to be the attorney general, the top cop in Virginia. In New Jersey, could have gone red. It didn't go red. Stayed very blue. In Chicago, they've decided police will not help get bad guys out of Chicago. That's why we live in Texas, right? So if we can, let's go down the line here, if you don't mind. Let's start with Marcus. Marcus, tell the people who you are, what you do, and why Texas is so great.
Yeah, thank you. First off, thank you for just having us out this evening. We're super grateful for being here at Governor Abbott's re-election campaign. Marcus Capone, I am here focused on veteran causes. I am the co-founder and chairman of a nonprofit called VETS, Veterans Exploring Treatment Solutions. Our mission is to end veteran suicide. I'm a retired Navy SEAL and small business owner and Texas resident. And just thank you for having us out and look forward to the conversation this evening.
Amazing. Thank you.
I am Amber Capone. I'm Marcus's wife. We've been together for nearly 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
You got married when you were 10? What is that?
Yeah, exactly. No, we just celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
We've been together for 28. Yeah, we're honored to be here and honored to be Texas residents.
And Amber is also the CEO and also co-founder of VETS, and she's an amazing, amazing woman.
Yes. Very good. Shelley.
I'm Shelley Carter. I'm the Chief Nursing Officer at Rice Medical Center, which is a small rural critical access hospital just west of here. And glad to be here tonight to support Governor Abbott.
Glad to have you. Mr. Enge.
My name is Joel Enge, and first of all, I want to give all praise and glory to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because it's in Him that I live, breathe, and have my being. And so blessed to be here. I'm founder and director of Kingdom Life Academy in Tyler, Texas. We're a small micro school that's focused on giving hands-on real-life education to students who don't fit within the context of traditional education. We're focused on low-income families, students that are not doing well in public school. And so we're transforming lives through His kingdom. And I'm so excited to be a Texan, okay, because we're about conservatism and giving people the freedom and the rights to be able to prosper and to be successful in life, and by which God has given us. And I'm glad to be here.
Glad to have you. Andy Kahn.
Andy, what was my last name?
Kahn, yes?
Thank you. Andy Kahn, Director of Victim Services, Crime Stoppers of Houston. I was the first victim advocate in the country to be staffed out of a mayor's office. I was with Houston Police Department, and then I started Crime Stoppers' first victim advocacy project in the entire country. I also serve on the board of Parents of Murdered Children and Surviving Family Members of Homicide, which is the only organization in the country in which someone else writes out your membership for you.
Appreciate that. Leticia Ibarra.
Yes, hi, I'm Leticia Ibarra. I am a mother of a homicide victim. My daughter Jessica was murdered in August of 2020. And through my experience with help from Andy and others, I'm also a member of that club he was talking about. So I have then, through my experience, started to become a victim's advocate, and with the intention of turning pain to purpose. right? We're going to make
Yes.
good come out of evil. And we're so appreciative to the governor for all the support that he's given crime victims and pushing for public safety. And so we're here to support him and encourage more.
Great. We'll talk some more. Ray Hunt from the Houston Police Officers Association. Talk to us, Ray.
My name is Ray Hunt. I'm the 36-year police officer here in Houston, active officer. I'm currently assigned as executive director of the Houston Police Officers Union, native Houstonian, and proud to say that the Houston Police Officers Union, formerly Houston Police Officers Association, has endorsed Greg Abbott every single time he's run, and proud of it.
Very nice. So let's go around the dais if we can. Ray, I'm going to start with you again, then we'll go back this way if you don't mind. I just talked about New York. I talked about Chicago, Portland. I talked about where they just don't like police officers. I talked about how law enforcement has turned into call a psychologist if you're domestic abuse or rape or something. We don't want that. In Texas, we believe in the law. We believe in law and order. How has Greg Abbott, as the governor, supported what you guys do with that badge on?
Well, let me say this. If you know a police officer in New York, Chicago, or Portland that wants a job in Houston, Texas, we are hiring. Tell them to contact me. My number's listed in the hpou.org. We would love to have them here. And I'll tell you this. It's very difficult to be a police officer in 2025. But it's a lot easier when you have a governor, lieutenant governor, legislature, city council, and mayor who supports you. And the very top of that list is Greg Abbott. Greg Abbott has provided bulletproof vests to us, along with a couple of state reps that I see here who voted for that. Ballistic shields for our cars. Whenever we did need more cars, he came up with more money for cars. He has been a true advocate of law enforcement. So if you want a law enforcement governor, you need to elect Greg Abbott once again.
Yes. Appreciate that. Letitia, I read a little bit on your situation, and I appreciate you being somebody who's got a great loud voice to advocate for victims. You said something that jumped out, though. The two worst days of your life is when it happens, and then when the verdict comes in. Why is that? And why is it that here in Texas, people who are victims, families that are victimized, have a better chance at getting the word out and maybe stopping this happening again?
Thank you. It is the absolute worst day of your life. If you can imagine when you get a phone call or knock on the door that your child has been brutally murdered. It's life-changing. You're never the same. But what happens is your life is completely on hold while you navigate the criminal justice system. In my case, he confessed, and it still took 3 years.
Wow.
And while this confessed murderer was waiting for his day in court, he received $75,000. It was set at $75,000 his bail. So there was nightmares every single day that I would open my front door to go to work and he's standing outside, or nightmares that I would get the text that he's been released. And so everything in between that is just absolutely horrifying, right? You don't know what's going to happen. The impossible has already happened to you. So all of those, maybe so-called irrational things are actually reality for you.
No, it's not irrational at all. I mean, if the guy got out, that's
because
ridiculous.
It's happened. Right, it's happened. And so, we're so appreciative of the governor and legislature. And I will say that, the public safety is a bipartisan issue, right? It was, and the governor and they've worked together with everyone to get the Prop 3 passed, right? And so we showed up in legislature in Austin to support that. We were there at 9 o'clock in the morning. I think we left at 11 p.m. when they finally heard us, but we are not going to be quiet, right? The rights of the accused, there is someone along the way, every step of the court system to make sure that their rights are not violated, but that's not the same that's afforded to us, right? Our rights as victims are a mere courtesy, and that needs to change. And so what I do to work, and my friends, other family members who have gone through the same, is to not only work to stand up and talk about increased public safety and push for increased public safety, but also enhance victims' rights. And that's what we're going to do. And that is a way for us to extend the legacy of our loved ones that are gone.
I'm going to have you on the show, and we'll have a big long-form interview on this. But I wonder, how did the guy get out on bail?
He didn't. Actually, thankfully, no one bailed him out.
Oh.
He stayed.
It was available, but nobody did it.
Yes.
Well, thank God.
Yes.
But
still.
no, you weren't being irrational. That's irrational to even give him that chance.
Absolutely. It was astonishing to me that an admitted murderer, there was no question of his guilt. Yeah. He admitted it. He led police to her body. There was no question. And to be given a $75,000 bail was astonishing to me.
And this legislature and this governor heard you.
Yes, he did.
Good.
Yes.
Andy, let me ask you this. How important is Crime Stoppers? Andy Kahn, by the way. How important is it? How active are you working with police to get these bad guys off the street?
So Crime Stoppers of Houston, we are the largest Crime Stoppers in the country. We are the only Crime Stoppers in the country that has its own building. We're the only Crime Stoppers in the country that has a schmuck like me that does what I do.
Wait a second.
With victim services as well. We catch crooks.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We not only catch them, but we make sure that they get prosecuted, and we make sure that they don't breathe free air for quite a long time. There's a saying that I've had, Joe. Crime victims are the only unwilling participants in the criminal justice system. Everyone else chose their role. Law enforcement, judges, prosecutors, defense attorneys, offenders, victim advocates, but no one ever said, pick me, I want to be a victim of a crime. So it's the least we can do, particularly in government, is to have organizations like Crime Stoppers to be looking out for victims' well-being, their due process, and their rights, and putting their lives back together again. All we want is a semblance of fairness and balance. Now, Governor Abbott and I go back, I won't say how far, but in 1994, we had a victims organization called Justice for All. Governor Abbott at that time was a judge. He was actually one of the first board members of a victim advocacy organization. That's how far back the governor has made victims' rights and victim advocacy a part of his platform and a part of his agenda as a governor.
Such a huge deal. It really is. Yeah, round of applause. That's fine. Joel, education is so important. You've got indoctrination happening across this nation. In Texas, I hope and I think that we're doing it better. When you're running an academy, is the climate and atmosphere better in Texas? If so, why?
Absolutely. It's better in Texas because of the freedom that we're being afforded by the leadership that our governor has done, particularly with the passage of education savings account. And I'm so grateful for the fight.
That.
Amen,
yeah.
amen, 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 because he championed this battle. He is a warrior, and he took on, again, the opposition that comes from the public school site systems that are in opposition to parents being able to choose what's best for their children. And that's one of the things that he recognizes, that the freedom that's necessary for parents to be able to choose. And I was able to partner with an organization, Americans for Prosperity, to be able to join with the governor to battle for the freedom of families and what's best for children. Because I taught in public education for 16 years, and I saw that one size fits all does not work.
Yeah.
And we recognize the fact that some children need different school environmental settings in order for them to be able to prosper and to be successful. And we have to recognize that. And so at Kingdom Life Academy, we've been able to do that to help students, particularly students from low-income families, minority students, who are locked into the public education system and they don't have a choice.
Right.
And so we've been able, with the help of our community in Tyler, to be able to open up a school, but we struggle. But now with the passage of education savings accounts, we're going to be able to see more low-income families, more minority students to be able to prosper in the educational setting that they need. And so this is what's happening in Texas, because we passed the largest school choice bill in the country. And so we celebrate with Governor Abbott and the leadership that he gave to our state to make a difference in education.
So well said. Think about it. That's one of the only products on the planet that you don't have competition. Public school just got all the money. It made no sense. If you compete, even the public schools will get better. If you compete and have a great school like yours, either they'll get better or they'll leave town because you guys are doing it so well. It was stunning to me that our money was stolen out of our paychecks or out of our property taxes to fund schools that didn't care if they passed or not.
That's right.
They just had to exist. So I love what you're doing. I appreciate you saying that. Shelley, exactly right. Well, not for me, for him. Shelley, when it comes to the medical, apparatus completely, I have no idea. I'm not in the medical field. You're somebody who is in the medical field, nursing. I said Rice University. You smacked me in the face. You said it's not. It's Rice Medical Center. Tell me why Texas is a good place to be when it comes to giving health care to people who need it.
So I started out my career at a level 1 trauma center and had all the support I needed. And a couple years ago, I decided to go to Rice Medical Center, which is a small critical access hospital. Small rural hospitals are being closed right and left because there's not monetary support for them. Governor Abbott has recognized that and has supported several bills that help support keeping rural hospitals available, which if you travel across Texas or travel anywhere else, you'll know there's long areas where there's not health care unless there's a rural hospital out there. He's also supported EMS as well. And so you're not left out there in the middle of the boonies without the support you need if something happens health-wise. So
Are people more apt to come to Texas and sign up to be medical providers, to be nurses, doctors assistants, all of that?
yes.
Good.
I will tell you that from where I came from, the big hospital I worked at, people came from all over the country in order to train in Texas, and they ended up staying here.
Awesome. Let's hear it for Shelley, right? It's always the hard thing to figure out how we're going to do medical health care. It's the big argument in D.C. right now. It's faked by the Democrats, by the way. They're faking this whole health care thing. It's not vital right this second. It doesn't expire until December 31st, but I love that you're here, that you're providing it here. Amber, are you ready to get really busy? It's going to be really busy because everybody's leaving New York. They're all leaving New Jersey. They're all leaving Virginia. Are you ready to, because you're a real estate mogul, from what I understand. Are you ready to get very busy?
Well, actually, I gave up my real estate career whenever Marcus and I decided to found our nonprofit organization serving the veteran community. And I'm really busy with that.
You were unbelievably successful in real estate. I read up on you, and I know that you are. So are you ready to go back into real estate? No, I'm just kidding. No, I love what you guys are doing together as a couple. If you don't mind, because of your expertise, can you talk about real estate a little bit? Can you talk about, I know in Florida, they're looking at prices going through the roof. I hope they don't all come here from New York and bring their blue voting. But I mean, could you talk a little bit about that before we get into the actual, the association that you're running with your husband?
Absolutely. I mean, Texas has such a strong real estate market. I think it's poised for continued growth. And over a decade ago, I was always an agent at Keller Williams, and I remember Gary Keller saying, "Now we're going to experience a market downturn, so everyone just prepare for that." And we never saw that in Texas.
Right.
So, and it's obviously such an incredible state. Purchasing real estate here, I would strongly recommend it.
Well, good. I would recommend it too, as long as you don't bring your blue voting here. Why would you do that? Why ruin where you are, then bring it here? Hello? It's kind of dumb. All right, let's talk about the association. So, Marcus, you are a former Navy SEAL?
I am.
Are you always a Navy
life.
SEAL, or are you a former Navy SEAL? Because if you're a Marine, you're always a Marine.
Well, I say I was a Navy
former or
SEAL in
not?
my former life.
Okay,
Try to-
because when I shook your hand, you almost ripped my arm off. I'll be honest with you.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. So talk to me about the association. I know that I was talking to Rob O'Neill, the guy who took out bin Laden on my show.
I served with Rob.
Rob's amazing. But during the interview, he kept saying to me, "You're not getting the best Rob right now." And I said, "Well, what do you mean by that?" He said, "Well, I'm going through some things, but there are some medications that are available. And I think that you also dabble in that because it's getting people better, right? It's veteran services, talking to veterans, because does that make sense where he said this is almost the bad Rob, but it's not, you'll have the good Rob in a couple of months?
Well, Rob, like many veterans, we've never fought 20 years of sustained combat, right? So our nation's never experienced this type of war and for so long. And I have friends that I served with who've literally done nothing but deploy again and again and again to Iraq and Afghanistan. So when we come home, we're introduced to the medical system, and many of us, the VA system or military medicine, it only works for maybe 30 to 50% of the individuals.
Right.
For the other 50%, we're using old technology. For someone like me, unfortunately, I was prescribed antidepressants and talk therapy for almost 7 years in multiple brain clinics that didn't help. For me, I had to travel outside the country to do alternative treatment.
Right.
It's why Amber stopped her really successful career as a real estate agent. Her and I focused full-time on our charity. It's called Veterans Exploring Treatment Solutions. Our mission is to end veteran suicide. We provide resources, research, and advocacy for individuals seeking alternative treatments. It is extremely busy.
Yeah.
For every 10 applications, we can maybe give one grant scholarship. We've funded over 1,200 now special operations veterans and other veterans
Amazing.
to seek out these treatment. Governor Abbott has been a massive supporter of the work we're doing, and Texas and Governor Abbott leads the way. This year, they passed a bill which will appropriate over $100 million in funding clinical trials and research for veterans seeking out these treatments. So,
yes. It's amazing. I'm based in San Antonio, Military City, USA, obviously, and we care about the military here. My dad, from New York, was in the Air Force, so he had to go through San Antonio in 1957 or something. And his entire life, and he died young, at 69, but his entire life, he always said, my service, my service, my service. They love the service. A guy like you and guys like Rob and guys and gals who have done this, millions and millions upon millions, that's what makes you go in the morning. So how do you find that down? How do you find that I'm not going to be deployed tomorrow? How do you find that, let me find myself again, that's not in that gear, in that place?
Well, that's why we're here,
Good.
right? Too many individuals come back, and it's very difficult to get off that bullet train of constant deployments, constant combat, and then stepping into a different type of environment. And so, granted, Amber and I are not working on education resources and employment. We focus on mental health care because really you can work on all those other things, but if you know, between the ears is not working, everything else starts to fall apart. Professionally, your family falls apart, your friendships fall apart, you start to isolate, and then bad things happen. Yeah. So we really focus on the mental wellness, mental health aspect of this, because again, we need to find purpose and passion and mission. Many of the individuals I work with get out and they start selling a widget, and just selling that widget is not the same thing as you were doing overseas. You felt like you were doing something for your country, for your friends, for your family, and you come back home and that's lost. So you need to find community and tribe and everything else again, and that's what we're really, that's what we're really doing.
But Amber, how do people get a hold of your organization? How do they take part? How do they find out more?
Well, a lot of people find out about it through word of mouth, and that's why we can only support 1 out of every 10. We had a documentary premiere just this past week on Netflix.
Wow.
It's called In Waves and War, and since then we've had over 400% application increase. We can already only help less than 1 out of every 10. So we are really at a deficit, and the veteran community is struggling significantly. And so we've really dedicated our lives now to advocating for those who are now feeling voiceless. They've given the best years of their life in service to this nation, and many of them are in their 40s or 50s and have the rest of their lives left to live. So our website is vetsolutions.org.
Okay.
And the film is In Waves and War.
Go check it out. Definitely go see that. It's so important to our veterans that we make them understand that when they came home to a welcoming place. But at the same time, we can't replicate what you guys face adrenaline-wise, with the fear that has to be going on all the time, the mission all the time. You're right, sell a widget. Is that the mission? Is that the same? Shelley, let me ask you this. When it comes to medical care, health care in this country, it's a big argument. Is the argument as big here? Does Texas do it better for some reason? I'm guessing yes. We're all on the stage today.
I believe Texas does it better.
Yeah.
Just you go to conferences and you go visit with nurses elsewhere, and you hear their struggles, and we don't have those same struggles that they do.
Right.
As bad as they do. It's a good place to work. It's a good place to care for patients. So yeah, it's definitely. I would never think of going anywhere else.
Well, good. Well, we're glad that she's here, right? Joel, when somebody wants to figure out how to get away from a public school that's failing, and they're in a neighborhood, you mentioned minority neighborhoods that have been left behind by many big cities, they're literally passing people if they write their name on a paper so they get that funding every day from the government. They're not teaching them anything. If they want to find out how to find a school like yours, how to go and seek out a school choice that they can make that's different than public school, how do they even do that? Most people have no idea how to start.
Right, I think they start, first of all, and I think it's happening, particularly here in Texas, because ESA's Education Savings Accounts is now opening up a door for teachers like me who have been frustrated within the context of public education because they're seeing students being passed on. But these quality, strong teachers who care about kids are now being given the opportunity and the funding to be able to start their own small schools. That's what I've seen even when visiting Florida. And so these micro schools, I believe, will begin to pop up. And so these opportunities will begin to come. But families that are looking for these opportunities will begin to reach out into the community. I say, and a lot of times even with churches now being inspired to be able to start their own schools. And some churches have their own schools now. And with ESAs coming forth, that these opportunities will be given to parents. And I think that's where the power is going to come, particularly in the minority community. because, again, you got so many students that have been dropping out of school, not only not finishing, but dropping out, and parents are desperate for these options. But I think with, again, the passing of ESAs has opened up a tremendous door and a tremendous opportunity to give these families these options.
Right.
And so I think as the bill or the funding rolls out, these opportunities will begin to spring up.
Right.
But may not be totally available now, but they're coming. But we are grateful, even in Tyler, that we can impact students that are coming from these communities that have basically given up. Because I've watched students drop out of school so many times that I taught in public education.
Right.
And now they're adults and they're struggling. But now we're able to reach kids now that have been potential dropouts, but are now graduating and moving into the trades, because a lot of kids don't fit the traditional education. They don't want to go to a four-year college. And we've been pushing college, but we have to give these students these opportunities in small classrooms that they can
teach them in high school. We're worried about college. I mean, let's get them through high school and make them productive members of society. It never made any sense to me why blue states are against school choice when you're talking about the people that benefit the most from a choice in education are those who can't afford private school, those who can't afford some charter school. Now you can with these education accounts. I love it, absolutely love it. Okay, Crime Stoppers in Texas versus Crime Stoppers anywhere else. Does it make a difference?
We're the best Crime Stoppers in the country.
We're the best, that's why, yes.
End of story. Let me ask everybody here, how many of you voted for Proposition 3 that gives judges discretion not to grant bond to defendants charged with violent crimes?
Yep.
That was one of Governor Abbott's priority bills, but let me tell you, that took 6+ years to get it to the voters.
Wow.
That's Governor Abbott's commission. That's what he does. He didn't give up on the first try. He kept coming and he kept coming, and then we finally got it passed. Now judges have discretion not to grant bond to defendants charged with certain violent crimes. I've been going up to legislative sessions since 1993. The last session was Crime Stoppers' best session ever. We had at least 7 bills that passed to enhance public safety and victims' rights. Crime victims are the only unwilling participants in the system, but Governor Abbott has made it a priority of his administration to make sure that crime victims have a place, that they have standing, that their rights and well-beings are going to be enforced. So we are looking forward to another 4 years where crime victims' rights are a priority over defendants' rights.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you, brother. Letitia, to piggyback on that, if somebody is, and I don't want anybody to be, but there will be more victims. If somebody's victimized, if the family is victimized, they don't know where to turn. Because as you said, you're not used to that. Your whole entire life changes. What do? How can they get advocacy? Do they contact you, Crime Stoppers, Governor Abbott, me? What do they do immediately after they figure out where they are in their life now? The next step is what? What do they do?
The best step really is to do, well, I kind of went about it the wrong way, but really to contact Crime Stoppers of Houston.
Yeah.
I will tell you kind of a story about how they helped me tremendously. I don't know what I would have done without them. So Jessica was murdered in August, and of course there is an advocate assigned to you from the DA's office. I didn't find Crime Stoppers and Andy Kahn until April. So I went nearly 8 months not knowing what to do, not what to expect. I had very, very little help. And I'll tell you a really cool story about how this happened. I was in school and college at the time, so I didn't watch TV. And I used to be a runner, and I decided to go to Memorial Park to just clear my head. I went to Memorial Park on a time that I don't normally go, parked in an area that I don't normally park, and I happened upon a table where they were signing petitions for homicide victims, and ran into this gentleman.
Wow.
And I had no idea who he was, which I think is hilarious. It's funny.
We all do now.
Yeah. So, and he asked me, I signed, and he asked me, do you know someone who's been murdered? And I broke down crying and freaking out and got his card.
Wow, that was on purpose, wasn't it? You two meeting. That's amazing.
It was divine intervention,
Yeah.
I tell you. I didn't know what to do. I had no idea. I'd never gotten more than a traffic ticket in my life. I didn't really know where the jail was. So I didn't know what to do. And so Crime Stoppers of Houston was a huge help. And so through that, I was able to get the resources that I need. Andy was able to connect me with people former people in the DA's office who could explain the process to me, connect me with other family members that are going through the same thing.
And now you're doing it for them.
And now I'm doing it for them, right? And so we're turning purpose. We put together a 501c4, Texas Crime Victims United. I'm the treasurer for that group.
Right.
And for Prop 3, we're the ones showing up in legislation.
Well, thank you for doing that. You made us all vote for it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, if you don't mind, a round of applause for Letitia.
Yeah.
Let's end with Ray. Can you imagine a mayor telling the police, don't help the feds? Can you imagine a mayor saying, if they're here to enforce the law, don't enforce the law and help them enforce the law? Can you imagine that? I mean, it just seems so un-Texas. I can't imagine that happening here.
The number one priority for a police officer is an assist the officer. That's a state officer, a local officer, or a federal officer. So any officer that's in danger, we're going to run to that regardless of whether or not they're enforcing immigration or if they're enforcing state law or local law. If I can, I just want to briefly point out two of Abbott's good allies right there, two of our state representatives I see. I'm sure there's more here. But Charles Cunningham and Mike Schofield, thank y'all very much for everything that y'all did to get Prop 3 to the voters so we could pass it. Governor Abbott could not have done that had the legislatures not gotten it to him for his signature. So thank y'all very much.
Great job. A round of applause for all of our guests tonight, if you don't mind. Marcus, Amber, Shelley, Joel, Andy, Letitia, and Ray. And I'm Joe. We're going to make way now for the guest of honor. So we're going to go ahead. I guess we'll just get up and make way for the boss. Thank you so much, everybody. Just head right that way. That'd be great. Appreciate you. The governor's on the way out. I met Greg Abbott in my studio in San Antonio probably, I don't know, 12, 15 years ago. He was the attorney general. And when he came in, we hit it off very, very quickly. He's a guy that believes in law enforcement, believes in freedom and liberty, and he believes in Texas. He believes in the constitutional rights, not only nationally, but also the Texas constitutional rights. This Prop 3, that's because he's been doing it and working on it for so long. When it comes to school choice, he's been working on it for so long. It's the man that I hope remains the governor as long as he wants to be. It is Governor Greg Abbott. Everybody.
Somewhere between Jackson and Memphis, I knew I would let go of you. Well, it took some time, but I come to my senses, and I'm looking for a lighter shade of blue. So I'll drive where you can't find
put your high heels on and diamonds around your neck. You worry about being ready by 5, I'll worry about the rest. I give a paycheck to a bar in Dallas just to see you smile. I make my living from 9 to 5, but we're only living from 5 to 9. I'll clock enough by lunchtime to buy your dinner. The rest of the hours ought to cover half the tab. If I'm gonna sweat in the Texas sun for what feels like forever, I'd say we deserve the best time we've had. So put your high heels on and diamonds around your neck. You worry about being ready by 5, I'll worry about the rest. I give a paycheck to a bar in Dallas just to see you smile. I make my living from 9 to 5, but we're only living from 5 to 9. Just you and I, 5 to 9. I wanna put in that overtime, 5 to 9. Sip on that red wine, 5 to 9. It's you all night with high heels on and diamonds around your neck. You worry about being ready by 5, I'll worry about the rest. I give a paycheck to a bar in Dallas just to see you smile. I make my living from 9 to 5, but we're only living from 5 to 9. Just you and I, 5 to 9. Wanna put in that overtime, 5 to 9. Wanna sip on that red wine, 5 to 9. It's you all night with high heels on and diamonds around your neck.
Somewhere in Texas, there's some Bronco tire tracks down an old gravel road. There's a chain link fence that ain't hard to climb over. Ask me how I know. Somewhere in Texas, there's a cove carved out in a lake tailor-made for drinking, where that August sun hits just right when it's sinking, painting her green eyes gold. I don't know where we lost it. Was it Frisco? Was it Austin? Where it started running and we let it. Had it all for a summer. Wonder if she ever wonders if that love's still out there where we left it. Somewhere in Texas, there's a rodeo show that just sold 2 list tickets. There's a town where nothing's changed, but something's different. There's a girl getting on with her life and I ain't in it. I don't know where we lost it. Was it Frisco? Was it Austin? Where it started running and we let it. Had it all for a summer. Wonder if she ever wonders if that love's still out there where we left it. Somewhere in Texas. I don't know where we lost it, how it happened, why we called it, or if it's too far gone to go and get it. Had it all for a summer. Wonder if she ever
and drive off alone. I know the cowboys put angels through hell.
I was really excited to have the governor out. That's why I said what I said earlier, but now, after anticipation and getting a little bit cooler and great winds blowing, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, along with the First Lady of Texas, Cecilia, and their daughter, Audrey, it is the governor of the great state of Texas, Greg Abbott.
God bless Texas with his own hand, brought down angels from the promised land. He gave them a place where they could dance. If you want to see heaven, brother, here's your chance. I've been sent to spread the message. God bless Texas. First he let the sunshine, let him measure waters deep. Then he gave us moonlight for all the world to see. Well, everybody knows that the Lord works in mysterious ways.
Wow. Y'all are awesome. Howdy, Houston. Thank y'all for being out here, being a part of this great event tonight. And I want to begin by thanking Joe Pags for being out here and participating in this. Give it up for Joe Pags. He's an American patriot, loves their country, and feels free every single day to tell the truth to our fellow Americans, which is what we need more now than ever before. So I'm proud to join you back here in Houston, Texas. A city where my wonderful wife, the fabulous First Lady of Texas, Cecilia, she was born right here in Houston. Houston is the city that Cecilia and I moved to after I graduated from law school. It's a city where our daughter, when she was just a young kid, used to spend so much time. It also is a city where Cecilia and I frequented a restaurant nearby where we are, the original Ninfa's in Houston, Texas. And this is the place where I first ran for public office. We won Harris County then, and we are going to win Harris County again this election. So Houston has been a huge part of the tremendous Texas economic success. When I became governor, Texas had the 12th largest economy in the entire world. Wow. Well, that was great, but we're Texas, and 12th isn't really the best. And so we took office and we cut your taxes. We slashed regulations, and we attracted more businesses, added more jobs, and today, under my leadership, the Texas gross domestic product has increased to $2.7 trillion a year, making Texas now the 8th largest economy in the entire world. Nowhere but up, that's exactly right, because we ain't done yet, we're still going. So the Texas economy is larger than the economy of so many other countries. We're larger than the economy of Canada and Mexico, larger than the economies of Italy and Spain, and yes, the Texas economy is larger than the economy of Russia. So listen, since I've been governor, Texas has been ranked #1 in America for the most new jobs. #1 in America is the best state for doing business every year that I've been governor. #1 for business expansions and relocations. And #1 in areas that are kind of important to your everyday lives. Did you know that Texas ranks #1 for the most electricity generation? things you need to use every single day in your homes. In fact, Texas generates more electricity than the second and third states combined. We're leaders in aerospace, leaders in artificial intelligence. The Texas economy is growing twice as fast as the United States economy. And more Texans have a job today, and their wages are higher than ever before in the history of Texas. Important is this, and that is the driving force of the Texas economy are our small businesses. Businesses like where we are here tonight. Small businesses represent more than 95% of all businesses in Texas. And get this, Texas just announced a new record. We now have more than 3 million registered businesses in the state of Texas, twice the number when I first took office. Most of those are small businesses. And the deal is we want to make sure that we continue to help those small businesses continue to grow. That's why we enacted laws to cut the red tape they have to deal with and to help lower their cost of doing business. It's why that since I've been governor, we have increased the personal property tax exemption from $500 to now $125,000. It's no wonder that more people born in Texas stay in Texas. And it's why more Americans are choosing to make Texas their new home than any other state in the country. The reason for this success is that Texas remains the land of opportunity. We remain a state that insists on the rule of law in our state. We believe in things like hard work, high expectations, and we value our faith, our families, and our freedom. And we are a bastion of common sense in a country that is reeling from far left progressive insanity. Texas is the common sense state in the United States. But Texas isn't just another state. We're your home, your heritage. Texas is the heartbeat of this land we call America. As Texans, we will defend this state with every fiber of our being. We will protect what we built. We will finish what we started. We will lead Texas into its glorious future. And that's why tonight I'm here to announce I am running for re-election as your governor for the great state of Texas. So it was here in Houston that I had to rebuild my life after the accident that left me paralyzed. I learned that our lives don't have to be determined or defined by how we're challenged. Instead, we get to define our lives by how we respond to those challenges. It's a trademark resilience that we Texans have. And we saw that grit and resolve on display once again this past summer when Texans responded to the catastrophic floods in Central Texas. We will forever mourn the loss of every life, especially those precious little children. But when challenges arise, so do Texans. We saw neighbor helping neighbor. We saw strangers helping strangers. We saw millions of dollars pour in from across our state where Texans wanted to help out and help our little communities rebuild and recover. No one does it better than our fellow Texans. The state of Texas also stepped up. Our first responders, they rescued and evacuated more than 1,000 people, saving lives. And the state has invested more more than $500 million to help these communities rebuild and recover from the devastating floods. We've invested in new things like flood warning systems, and we enacted laws to ensure youth camps will be safer for every generation of campers going forward. In Texas, it's our families that matter the most. We must keep Texas the best state in America to raise a family. One way that we're currently doing that, we're working to contain the cost of living. It's been something we've devoted major steps to. Let me just give you a couple of examples. Child care is one of those expenses. It costs too much for child care. So one big reason for that cost is because of the massive regulations that drive up the cost of that child care. So as we speak, we are cutting hundreds of unnecessary regulations to make child care more affordable in the state of Texas. We also have addressed health care costs as well as accessibility. For example, we capped the cost of insulin. We also invested billions of dollars in state-of-the-art mental health facilities as well as treatment. And we're investing more than $1 billion to improve rural health care, especially for mothers and children in rural Texas. We're also investing more than $1 billion to improve health care for our seniors and the disabled. And we're making access to health care even easier to access for everybody, even in the comfort of your own home, by ensuring that we are bringing telemedicine to every home across the entire state of Texas. The cost of housing is another issue that we've tackled. I want you to know this. Texas ranks #1 in America for building more new homes than any other state. This is important because the increased supply of homes will help drive down the cost of housing. We also enacted laws to make it easier and cheaper to build more homes as well as more apartments. And to say the least, part of housing affordability are the property taxes that Texans have to pay. I want you to know our fellow Texans took a big step in addressing property taxes just this last week when they passed 7 constitutional amendments ensuring that property taxes are going to be cut across the entire state of Texas. It lowers property taxes on every homestead, and more than half of all seniors in Texas will pay $0 on their school district property taxes. Taxes are going to be cut in all 254 of our counties across the state. But listen, let me be very clear about something. The state of Texas does not impose a property tax. It's only local governments that impose property taxes in Texas. Those local property taxes are being hiked by your local governments incessantly. It's time that we drive a stake through the heart of the ability of local property tax hikes in the future. I have 5 solutions for that. The first thing we got to do is stop all of the out-of-control spending that leads to higher property taxes. To do that, local governments must live within their means, just like you have to live within your means. Second, sometimes your property taxes increase and you don't even have any say in it. That must change. To fix that, I want all property tax increases to be voted on and approved by 2/3 of the voters. Now, one thing I know all Texans agree upon, and that is your property taxes are too high. There's something we can do about that, and that's to provide you the ability to vote to roll back your property tax rates. I know you also believe that your property tax appraisals are too high, and they're skyrocketing every single year. To fix that, your appraisal should occur only once every 5 years, and your appraisal cap should be cut from 10% to just 3% a year. And the last thing along these lines, and that is, listen, y'all just voted on 7 constitutional amendments about things like property taxes. It's time to add another one. Voters in Texas should have the ability to vote on a constitutional amendment abolishing the school district property tax in Texas. We are going to turn the tables on local taxing authorities and put the power with the people and put out-of-control property taxes finished in the state of Texas. We transformed education to improve the education for every generation in Texas. Earlier this year, I signed the largest Day One school choice program in the history of the United States of America. This ensures that it empowers parents to choose the education pathway that is best for their child. But know this, school choice is not an end unto itself. It is a means to a larger end. Let me go back. Texas ranks #1 in so many ways. We're also #1 for oil and gas, #1 for cattle and cotton, #1 for space and semiconductors. Texas is #1 in the country for the most Tier 1 research universities. The time has come for Texas to set its sights on another #1 ranking. Texas must strive to rank #1 in educating our children. School choice is part of that plan. Choice equals competition, and competition will make all schools better. Public schools, private schools, charter schools, and home schools. Education across the swath is going to improve. But we wanted to make sure that we equipped our local public schools with the full capability to compete on that stage. And that's why I signed into law the largest funding increase ever for public schools in the state of Texas. Also, maybe the most important thing we have in our schools are our teachers. And we need to be able to attract and to retain the very best teachers. And that's why I signed into law the largest teacher pay raise ever in Texas, a $4 billion pay raise for our teachers. And to improve outcomes, we redoubled our efforts on core subjects like reading and writing, math and science, and we stopped the indoctrination of our kids in classrooms across our state. We banned DEI in our classrooms. And I signed a law saying no boys and girls sports in Texas. It's just common sense. Everything Texas is doing is just common sense. But when you go back and look at all these pieces of education that I've talked about and then piece them together, you can see that we are stitching together the elements that truly do put Texas on the pathway to achieving our goal of being #1 in educating our kids. I want you to know that we're also prioritizing things where we make government work for the people by prioritizing things like public safety. In Texas, we support our law enforcement officers, period. I couldn't believe it. A couple of years ago, there were cities across the country, even cities in Texas, Austin, that were part of this defund the police movement. I said, not on my watch. will I allow our law enforcement to be defunded. So I led the effort to get a law passed that I signed that will defund any city that defunds our police. We can never say thank you enough to everyone who wears the uniform and puts their life on the line to protect us. If there's anybody here who is a member of law enforcement, would you please wave your hand so we can see you and thank you. There you go, for your service, for what you guys are doing for our communities. We also enacted laws that keep dangerous murderers and rapists where they belong, which is behind bars. And we deployed a strike force that ensures that we get repeat offenders off our streets. And know this, no state in the history of America has done as much as Texas has to stop illegal immigration and to secure our border. Texas is the only state in American history to build our own border wall. The only state to build border buoys and razor wire to deny illegal entry into our state. And we have National Guard and Department of Public Safety, to the thousands of them, on the border, making arrests of people who enter illegally and seizing deadly fentanyl and getting it off our streets. Because of their efforts, we saw an 85% decline in illegal immigration. And we saw fentanyl deaths decrease by 40% over the past year. And I gotta tell you, our efforts on the border have never been better because we finally have Border Patrol unleashed, able to fully do their job and enforce the immigration laws of the United States. I'm proud to say we are joined tonight by the President of the National Border Patrol Council, Paul Perez, and other members of our Border Patrol right back over here. Give it up for the Border Patrol. Thank you guys for what you're doing to keep our country safe. To prioritize public safety, we banned sanctuary cities in the state of Texas. We stopped taxpayer-funded tuition for illegal immigrants. And we made clear only Texas laws and Texas courts govern our businesses and our neighborhoods. And we signed a law that stopped our foreign adversaries like China and Russia from buying land in Texas. In places where Democrats rule, everything's backwards. Illegal immigrants stay in luxury hotels, while Americans have to struggle to pay their own rent. Rioters wave foreign flags while occupying streets, rampaging our businesses, all of it on the dime of the American taxpayer. Democrats support crazy policies like open border policies. They support schools indoctrinating and sexualizing our children. And they can't even say what a woman is. We need to understand, what we have in Texas is truly precious. But it can all be destroyed in one bad election. In one election, government can crash the economy, they can destroy your jobs, and they can increase your taxes. In one election, borders can be flung wide open and lawless criminals set free to face no consequences. All it takes is one election. And make no mistake, Democrats want that election to be this election. Billionaires like George Soros and his socialist cronies, they're already spending millions of dollars to take over Texas. But tonight, we have a message for those Democrats and their socialist backers. This is Texas. They cannot buy us. They cannot beat us. We will see them at the ballot box. And we will win. We will defend our culture. We will safeguard our Texas values from the radicals who are trying to shove Texas to the far progressive left. Texas was built by the bold, men and women who believed that they could transform a vast frontier into the land of opportunity and prosperity that it has become. We are the sons and daughters of the liberty they fought for. We are heirs to Goliad and the Alamo. We believe in freedom over fear, God over government, and the bona fide greatness of the great state of Texas. We are Texans, and in 2026, we will remind the world that the spirit of Texas will never be broken. We will win this election. We will defend this great state. We will leave our children and grandchildren a Texas that's safer, stronger, freer, and more prosperous than ever before in the history of our state. So tonight, join me in this fight. Let's keep Texas, Texas. Let's roll.
If you haven't climbed up to Enchanted Rock, drink a cold shiner down in Luckenbach, taking your baby to the river walk, then you ain't met my Texas yet. If you haven't floated down the El Frio, heard red dirt music on your radio, eating Coopers down in Llano, you ain't met my Texas yet. You haven't been to the Houston Rodeo, saying carry on at a Pat Green show. If you ain't seen an Abilene sunset, then you ain't met my Texas yet.
You never gotta drive down in Port A, heard the words to Corpus Christi Bay. Never seen fireworks on PK. You ain't met my Texas yet. Haven't had a kolache when you go through West. Never heard of the Larry Joe Taylor Fest. Think polished pop country crap sounds the best. You ain't met my Texas yet. You haven't been to the Fort Worth stock show, sang along with Corey Morrow. And if you ain't seen a hill country sunset, you ain't met my Texas yet.
You say you haven't hiked through Big Bend, had your hair blown back by Lubbock wind, and been somewhere where they call you friend. And you ain't met my Texas yet. You haven't been to the San Antonio